Hello everyone, you are welcome to this class. Last class we talked about smart wraps, so today we're going to have a look at sketch bones. Sketch bones are a very interesting kind of bones because with the sketch bones you can create a different kind of motion and animation in our character. So in this example we have prepared here a scene. So we have our character that has a scarf. So we're going to use the sketch bones to animate this scarf. Okay, so come over here to our bone tool for our character, which is this Rosa character. I am going to select the parent bone, which is going to be this bone, and then I will draw my sketch bones right here. So now you could see that the sketch bones tool have this option where you can adjust the bone length. So if I draw my sketch bones, for example, okay, this bone length is adjusted when we had this option. So new bone lengths would have this option. You could reduce the size or increase the size based on what you want, but for me I think let's just gonna try a smaller size. Okay, and please ensure that your layer, which is the scarf, okay, has enough points so it's going to be deformed properly. All right, so I'm going to come here and then create my sketch bone. Okay, cool. So we have our sketch bones. So now you could see that the sketch bones have been created. I'm going to do some binding. So I'm going to bind these bones to this layer. So in my scarf layer, I'm going to select all the bones, and then I come to bone, and then I link the bones to there. Okay, so now we have this pretty much done, and now you could see that I could animate my character like I normally would. Okay, so this, all right, that's pretty cool. Nothing really, new. But imagine if we're going to animate this scarf moving and we have to do all of these bones individually. It's going to be a lot of stress. So that's why we have the sketch bone tools even in the animation. So let's say, for example, we have our character. We're going to go to where the character is at this point. And then you can see our character. So the sketch bone tool can actually be used for actually animating. Okay, so now when you open up the sketch bone tool, and then you see that we have this option. When I open my mouse, you see different bones are active. So what we want to do is that we want to animate this bone. Okay, so with the sketch bone tool I can literally draw out the motion of the shape, and you see what happens. It's adjusted. So pretty cool. So I can draw out the motion of how the bone is going to be, and that's going to update it. So that's very, very interesting because now we can literally draw out our motion very, very easily, and we don't have to like adjust each bone. So this is very cool for things that have a very dynamic and organic motion, like tails, flags, and here we have a scarf. You could also see that there's an option up here for scale bones, because when I use this without the option enabled and I draw my animation, it's not going to allow me to have a different scale of my bones. So it's going to keep the same proportion of the bones, right? But if I have this option turned on, when I draw, I can draw at any length, and it's going to adjust to that length. Of course, we might have to adjust this option, so we will probably use like a bone constraint like scale and stretch bones. So the mesh will be deformed based on the movement of these bones and scale of the bone. So I'm going to select, maybe let's start from here, select these bones, and then I go to bone constraints, and then I enable squash and stretch scaling. So now when I squash or stretch my bones, it affects the thickness of my shape. Okay, So let's see how that looks like. Let's come back here and sketch bones. Here we are. So when I draw, you know, it's quite thin, and then when I make it quite small like this, it's quite big. That's more realistic. Okay, so I think that's pretty cool. So we could actually animate this movement. Okay, so let's quickly do that. Let's say when the character is coming up, as you can see, she's coming up. So at this point, maybe it's like this because she's going up, and then as she keeps going up, you know, the scarf is maybe like this. Okay, and maybe at this point. So just to take notes, to know what you're actually animating, look at this red option. These are the selected bones. So this is actually what we're looking at here. Okay, so maybe let's change them to smooth interpolation. So here we can adjust some of the actions. Maybe so at this point it's more like this, and then maybe here like this. Okay, then maybe here let us maybe at this point the scarf is beginning to bend, so maybe we'll do it like this. And then this point, maybe it's more like this, and then down here maybe it's beginning to bend as such. Still quite thick, and then just make sure you have the right bone selected. And when you're drawing your sketch bones, you could actually begin at any point. So I could begin from here, for example, and only adjust this part of the bones. Okay, so you know, that's very interesting. So you can begin your sketching from any part of the bone, right? So I think maybe here the character is sort of winding up to start a different motion. Maybe at this point, and then the character begins to go like this. Yes, if you make a mistake, press undo and then withdraw. Okay, so Ctrl Z is your friend, or Command Z. So let's see here. The character is coming up closer. So you can see we could just keep animating this character till we are happy with something. Okay, maybe this point. We have one like this. You can see we really have like a lot of animation already in our scarf. So if we end it here, you could see we have already done like half of the scene. Okay, so really you see there's a lot of control we can have in our characters. Let's end it here and just quickly watch it and see. So you see we're able to animate the scarf moving by using just the sketch bone tools. I think that's pretty cool. Okay, so very powerful tool. All right, so in our next class we are going to have a look on how we actually create a new character. We have looked a lot on all the animation tools, so now we're going to focus on creating a character. So we're going to have a look at importing characters. Okay, so I'll see you then.